Content marketing, the more this tactic grows, the harder it gets. So how do you really connect with potential customers and draw them in? Hi, I'm Daniel Burstein, Director of Editorial Content at MarketingSherpa. We are here at the DMA's annual event and I am joined now by Mel Robbins. Thanks for joining me, Mel.
Well, thanks for having me.
So Mel, when it comes to content, you know about it. You're a TED speaker, more than 4 million views. You're a best-selling author. You were the founder of Inspire 52, which got 4.5 million unique views. So how can people really break through the clutter of content and get connect with their audiences?
Well, you know, one of the most important things is to remember that the people that you want to reach are being freaking bombarded all day long, whether it's 173 emails a day, which is what the average professional full-time working person gets, or it's 500 television channels to try to sift through. Your message has to resonate immediately, and it's got to be important to the person that's getting it. And so the work that the direct marketing agency does in terms of helping marketers figure out how to use the latest technology and how to be smart about the psychology of reaching somebody in a very distracted world is hugely invaluable these days.
Yeah, let's talk about that psychology. Let's take two different examples.
Great.
Every conversation we've had so far, you're really compelling. So let's see how we can teach marketers how to do that.
Okay.
So you're a CNN commentator. That's one audience.
Yes.
And you said you were talking to a group of a leadership group that led 29,000 engineers.
Yep.
Right? That's another audience.
Yep.
So walk me through how you think about what you're going to say on CNN versus how you're going to communicate to that group of leaders and engineers.
So it's a great question, and what you're actually talking about is taking a step back and considering the context in which you're going to be sending the message, and understanding that if you're sending an email, that's a very different packaging than if you're sending a direct mail piece, right? Or if you're trying to interrupt somebody's scanning of a web page and get their attention to click on something. So in the case of an email, you really have to market to either the curiosity gap, which is that 5-second window that you have to grab somebody's attention and immediately be like, huh, I wonder what that is. It's why, for example, when they looked at the top 10 articles, Daniel, from the New York Times last year, 7 of them were lists. Why? Because when you see a list, it immediately stimulates the prefrontal cortex and this curiosity gap of wondering, I wonder what the 7 things are. Another thing that we see, use an odd number. Why? Because there's a novelty bias in the brain, and odd numbers trigger something new. An even number, you see it all the time. If I say the top 10 reasons, even though David Letterman made it famous, it's sort of a throwaway number. The 7 reason why your customers don't open your emails, you're like, whoa, I gotta know what that is. So market to the curiosity gap if you're doing the direct stuff online in terms of advertising, or you're writing titles and you want people to click. If you are doing a longer form, so with CNN, my job is really to package up what the audience wants to know in a minute flat and then toss it back to the host. And so that means you gotta be short, you gotta make sure the content's packaged in a way that it's valuable to the person watching, not to make me feel important. And I think that's the final takeaway. It's never about you. It's never about your product. It's always about the person that is receiving the message. And if you start by thinking about what's important to them and what's going to pique their interest, you're going to set yourself up to win.
Yeah, and I think that's really key. So there's a real challenge. I think these are some great tips, but then we see marketers kind of just parrot them and they say, okay, I'll just put an odd number and make it a list everywhere, right? But really understanding about the audience that you're trying to reach. And you were talking about even like gazing into their soul. Am I getting that right?
Well, so when I'm not on CNN or I'm not doing what I'm doing here, which is kind of hosting and causing that human factor of getting the people that attend this event to truly connect with each other and connect with the exhibitors and connect with the ideas and driving that connection, I am hosting events on what I call the soul of leadership. And so marketers understand this because marketers tend to operate from the soul of a leader. So you have the mind of a leader, which is concerned about OpEx and concerned about revenues and concerned about headcount and concerned about problem solving. And you need that, obviously, to be great in business. But you also need the soul of a leader. And a soul of a leader is somebody that can, at a moment's notice, turn off the mind that's focused on headcount and numbers and spreadsheets and turn on what marketers do, which is curiosity and hopes and dreams and impulse. And that's what you're speaking to typically when you have a message that resonates. And so I travel all over the world, do 60 to 70 speeches a year, talking about the soul of leadership and how you train yourself to both be great at the language of the mind, but also the language of the soul.
Excellent. Marketing can be very technology focused these days. It sounds like don't just look at it as a database, look at it as real human beings you're trying to connect.
Well, the database is telling you something. The database is telling you what do people care about. So you were talking about the fact that I had my partner and I launched a company called Inspire 52. And it was a content aggregator that was simply aggregating inspirational content that would appeal to women between the ages of 30 and 55. And obviously, like all the aggregators out there, from Viral Nova to Board Panda to BuzzFeed, almost 100% of your traffic comes from social referral. So to be successful, and we were successful because we grew it to 4.5 million unique visitors a month in 6 months flat, and then sold it.
That's impressive.
Yeah, but it's because as the language of the mind, you understand the technology, which has to do with the algorithm at Facebook and how people find content and distribute it. But in the language of the soul, what we understood was, what does that person that's seeing something pop up in their feed want? Why is somebody on Facebook? They're not there to buy a product. They're there to take a break from their day. So if you're somebody that's buying Facebook ads, or you're somebody that's trying to syndicate your content through Facebook or Twitter, think about the why of somebody being on that platform. And the data comes in from not only picking relevant content, but also from how am I going to package it so somebody that's in that environment is actually going to feel like it's something within 5 seconds that they want to click on. Make sense?
Oh yeah, it's very easy to overlook in our busy day-to-day that technology, as important as it is, it's a means to an end, and that end is that you.
Well, at the end of the day, you're trying to find, it's direct marketing, and the direct refers to one human being. And unless you can make a direct connection, even in this crazy interconnected world, nothing's going to happen in terms of you moving the needle on all the business stuff and somebody buying your product or signing up for your email list or coming back to your website again and again and again and reading your white papers and watching your interesting videos. It comes in that particular direct connection, which the DMA is so amazing at teaching people to do. I mean, I love what Gunter was just saying about the fact that it's 98 years young. Because the truth is, the DMA has been around for a long time. And if you look at the evolution of marketing, where the DMA now is an integral partner to marketers, because we've come full circle back to being able to use all this incredible technology to connect directly with one person. And I would argue that because of the rise of the selfie, and the psychological impact that that's had on every human being, because if you think about the selfie, it's all about me. I don't even need you to take the photo. In fact, a lot of times if you ask somebody if you can take it for them, they're like, nope, I've got this, I want the selfie.
Right.
That reaching somebody in their inbox or in their Facebook, and on mobile in particular, is a even more direct and intimate experience than a piece of direct mail used to be landing in somebody's kitchen. And you need to be extremely aware that that is where you're reaching somebody. And if your message is not resonating, meaning nobody's clicking on it, you got to tweak it to take account of the fact that you're reaching them somewhere that's totally new and very intimate for them. I mean, half the people that you're reaching, their spouses don't even have the code to their phone.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming here and connecting with our audience, Mel, and best of luck in hosting an event.
Thank you. It's going to be amazing.
And
Promise.
you can, well, we look forward to it. And you can watch many more videos from the Media Center at MarketingSherpa.com/DMA.